Why,
Big
why are
brain
you
doing
so
some thinking
pro?
over here.
Why are you so pro China over pro America though? Just because they're taking over Africa and they're building bullet trains. You think they have a fundamentally better system of government? They're highly centralized one party rule. You think that's a better system of government?
China is actually a competent country with efficacy. You can't say that about America. You can keep sputtering and saying, you really believe China? Yes. Yes. Look at the trajectory of China and look at the trajectory of America. How is America doing right now? Shortages of essential goods. You go to Costco and they won't let you buy 2 cases of water. But we're comparing ourselves to a first-rate country like China. We should be embarrassed. We are a white civilization. We can do better. White people have dominated the globe for 500 years. We put a man on the moon. We had an industrial revolution. We invented the nuclear bomb. And now we're just being basically raped from the inside out by Judeo-Bolshevik entertainment complex, academia, and intelligence community, State Department, and by all of this sludge pouring across the border from the South. We're not a serious country. China is, they are affirming 1,000-year-old Confucian principles. They are returning to tradition. You know that China means the middle. They're the center of the universe. That's how they see themselves. They don't believe that China begins. China has existed forever. And there's something about that which is so inspiring compared to how we see ourselves, which is that the greatest thing about our country is that, you know, black people can come here and get a job working at Walgreens or something. That's our mission statement. China believes that the whole earth revolves around them. They have foreign leaders come and bow their head to the floor in front of the emperor, and we compare ourselves to them. We got to get a fucking clue, man. So yeah, I'm 100%.
Hey, I don't
China.
I don't disagree with you on a lot of those points. I think the difference is I'd rather take our country back and clean up the swamp, fix our military, return to some of those traditional values you're talking about, so that America can stand as the shining city on the hill, instead of relying on this pro-China narrative that you have. And again, we can credit China for what they're doing good, but to say that fundamentally China is a better country than America when they literally have concentration camps over there, it's crazy.
That's State Department propaganda. They're building concentration camps here for the unvaccinated, and we torture people on Guantanamo Bay. The whole Uyghur Muslim concentration camp thing, that is State Department propaganda. That is part of a CIA agenda to undermine
we have
Beijing's
actual
control over China.
Doing by the hundreds of thousands.
We should have.
We don't have
like
hundreds of thousands of
people we should be
locked up in Guantanamo.
Yeah, they have
not a single unvaccinated person.
Our Muslims are flying planes into buildings. Their Muslims are getting a proper Chinese education, and God bless them. Good for them. So concentration camps. China's a great country. Xi Jinping is respected in the world. He's an honorable statesman and a real statesman. We have a mental retard in office, and basically our country's a joke. They have 1.5 billion yellow men, Chinese strong. They're building hypersonic missiles. And what the fuck are we building? We're building black-only spaces. We're building black-only libraries or whatever so they could get them reading on and shit. Please. I mean, we're just not a serious country. And until we can recognize that, we'll never be great again. So listen, the only thing that's going to stop the American regime is an outside external force. All the institutions in America are controlled by our adversaries. So the only thing that can change fundamentally the political dynamic is a more powerful element. It won't come from inside America. It has to come from outside America. So maybe that's Russia, maybe that's China, or a coalition of the two. Fundamentally, this is why they didn't like Trump. Trump wanted to nip apart NATO, and he wanted to force Japan and South Korea to pay for our troop station there. And this upsets the State Department's agenda. They need to shore up their diminishing relative added to America's global force projection. So when they're trying to say, oh, there's concentration camps, it all comes down to what the elites in America want. These people are evil. They're our enemy. I don't identify with them. There's no us. There's no we. I'm on China's side. I'm with Beijing.
I don't identify with them either, but what are you proposing? You want China to invade America so that it can dismantle our government so that what? They can just take over and then we won't have any freedom of speech or anything?
That would be better. We don't have freedom of speech. Do you hear yourself, man? If the Chinese take over, we won't have freedom of speech. Yeah, well,
yeah.
I think it's just a change.
We'll
of
have a
management
social
here.
credit system that's worse than what we have here. We
How
still
could it be
our
worse?
freedom of speech
How
is
could it
hanging
get
on
any
by a
worse?
thread.
How could it get any worse? If you don't believe that a guy can cut his dick
How
and
can it get
balls
any
off and
worse?
become
They
a
would
woman,
ban you.
then you're
They would
practically
ban
put on
you
self-violence and
off
put in
every
jail.
platform and not even let you on the internet.
I would much prefer, at least China's social credit system would reward actually virtuous things and punish actually bad things. You know, in China,
I think it's hilarious that you think if China invaded America and our government, that you would have the ability to speak your mind.
Black population.
You wouldn't even have the ability to speak your mind, especially saying the stuff that you're saying. You would not have the ability to do that.
We can't already. What planet are you on? I would not in the future.
You're
Hi,
literally
I'm
on
the
this
guy
live
that had to
stream
create
saying
my own
what you're saying.
platform because the Jews banned me from everything.
Okay, well, I'm just saying you wouldn't even be allowed to have your own platform. China would probably lock you up for your views. You would,
go figure. Whoa, what a world! China's gonna lock me up and ban me from all the platforms.
They would. Have you seen what they do to their political dissidents? Have you seen what they do to their political dissidents? The second you don't agree.
Snowden and Julian Assange and Anton GNA. You ever heard of a few people like that? Political dissidents, no platforming, political censorship. What are you living in? It's not the fucking 90s, Gunner. I know you're 28. It's not the 90s anymore, buddy. It's 2021, and political dissidents are fucking in jail. And if you don't get injected with Pfizer mRNA, you can't have a fucking job. But the Chinese are going to come in and make it worse. The day that China owns this country, I pray on it. We want that to happen. It will be better for us.
Wow.
Yeah, Gunner. Yeah. You going to go and fight for Taiwan?
You what?
You going to go and fight for Taiwan? You going to go and fight to shore up Taiwanese independence or fucking Ukraine or whatever? Are you going to go on the frontiers of this gay fag empire and fight and die for it?
I support us defending Taiwan's right to autonomy and to them having their own state and defending themselves from China, because that's what the people want.
Oh, is it? Taiwan is Chinese clay. It is rightful Chinese clay. And I can't wait for China to wrest it back under their control and absolutely humiliate the American government in front of God and everybody, in front of the whole world. Because then the whole world will see that the American regime is a real paper tiger. And then maybe, forces like the Taliban and Assad and Russia and China will finally begin to rise up and break the chains, break free from the sick, evil empire, which is what it is. You won't recognize how evil America really is. It's a sick country, and it's doing sick things all around the world. Everybody's living in denial. Why are you defending the system? You're going to go out in the city and get carjacked by a black guy, try and defend yourself and wind up in jail for the rest of your life. You're going to make an Instagram account saying you want to lower taxes and get banned for the rest of your life. You're going to go to a Trump rally and have the FBI raid your house. And then you're going to sit here and tell me that if China imposed a social credit system, we wouldn't have the freedoms that we have as Americans. You got to get your head on straight, buddy. Start watching the fucking news, because it's not 1995 anymore.
Okay, so, obviously,
the debate's over. I won. China wins. I win for China.
Hey, man, if you think that's a winning ideology, if you think that's a winning position, all power to you, man. But I fundamentally disagree, and I think it's dangerous. Honestly, I think it's dangerous to have those ideas. And
it's dangerous. How is it dangerous?
We're just gonna have to take that one to the ballot box.
How's it dangerous?
To support China invading us so that they can destroy the last freestanding democracy republic on the world that actually has the ability. And look, I agree with you about all your charges against Biden and our military and all that. I think it all needs to be cleaned up. And I think if we can get Trump back in power, we can clean a lot of that up. We need a supermajority in the Senate so that we can pass legislation that prevents these communists from ever doing this coronavirus bullshit that they did. But we're never going to win a supermajority in the Senate with these type of views, buddy. I really just don't. I don't think this is a winning position at all. And it's
super
just, yeah.
majority in the Senate. What the fuck are you talking about? We got, man, you know, and this is your brain on, I don't know, I guess apparently 3 decades of just being spoon-fed Republican think tank propaganda. We're just going to, because here's what I'll bet. I'll bet my, you know, I'm a millionaire. I bet my $1 million fortune that you think that we're going to go out with some kind of strategy that's inclusive to non-white people like immigrants and Hispanics and blacks. And you think like Steve Bannon, you probably don't even know who Steve Bannon is or what he represents because you bonehead. We probably think we're going to put up in place some kind of multiracial inclusivity diversity program, and we're going to rope in all these Hispanics and blacks and have voting for Republicans in the midterms with a super majority, and then do what? Pass a big fucking tax cut, deregulatory thing in the bureaucracy. You know, we got to think a little bit bigger, man. Our civilization is dying. Our birth rate is declining.
Well,
men and women are getting married.
Let me pick your brain. If we won a super majority in the Senate and we had the House and the presidency, what would you like to see America do so that you could stop advocating for the invasion of China, to dismantle our entire system
Invasion
of government?
Of America.
Unhappy with what America's doing.
It's the invasion of America by China. You know, I mean, I don't even know. You're just having a hard time, which is not even what I'm advocating for. Nevertheless, what we need to do is get serious, man. We need to like start arresting billionaires. We need to dismantle all our embassies, fire everybody at the State Department, fire everybody in the FBI, CIA, NSA, liquidate all of it, fire everybody in the DOJ. We got to go after the universities, go after their endowments. We got to go after the media, go after all the 5 big media conglomerates. We have got to strike at the heart of the American regime. We have got to strike at the heart of the existing power structure. And we've got to replace it with real patriots, with real American patriots. Now, that is a very transformative event. I mean, that's basically regime change. I'm not advocating for a violent overthrow or anything, but just a change in management. That's what has to happen. But I mean, you people, you think we're just going to win the Senate this time. Number one, never going to happen. Never going to happen, because you got 250,000 people pouring across the southern border at least every single month, and they're all voting Democrat. 1 in 20 illegal Hispanic immigrants is a Republican. 1 in 20. 1 in 10 legal Hispanic immigrants are Republicans. This is from Pew Research, my friend. 1 in 20 for illegals and 1 in 10 for legal. So you do the math. You got 1 million illegals and 1 million legals, and probably more than that coming in every year, and they're coming into Texas, Florida, Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, and they're going everywhere. They're in Georgia, Virginia. You do the math. We're not getting a supermajority. It's not going to happen. Certainly not anytime soon. And let's just go back 5 years. We had a majority in the House, Senate. We had the White House and the Supreme Court from 2016 to 2018. And you want to know what we got done? We failed to repeal Obamacare, which is what Republicans campaigned on for 6 years up until that point. Didn't even get that done. And then we passed a modest corporate tax cut. And those were the things that the unified Republican government got done from 2016 to 2018. But you think, well, if we just get a majority one more time, enlighten me, Gunnar. Tell me why. Teach me something here.
The Patriot movement hadn't become what it is, to where we could get those 60 members in the Senate to not be these. It was all rhinos. It was all modern Republican rhinos. And so that's what we were dealing with. That's why we could only get a tax cut or, cut regulation. But if you want to see actual change, the type of change you're talking about, where we can go through and gut all these different agencies and actually take back our country, which, by the way, me and you actually agree on a lot of those things of what I'd like to see done so that we can clean up America. I don't think advocating for China to invade and regime change is the way to do it. But the way you get that done is by us having actual patriots be those 60 members in the Senate. And I think we could start to get that done if we don't advocate for these anti-women, anti-gay, anti-Jew views that you hold. There's no way in hell we'll ever hold a supermajority again in the Senate if we have those types of views, and that's what we're promoting.
I'm cutting out. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I mean, we had a supermajority, but they were all rhinos, and so we've got to replace those people.
We didn't have a supermajority. We had a majority. We didn't have a super majority. And you're talking about replacing 67 senators with patriots. Do you know how much money it costs to run a Senate campaign or a presidential campaign or a congressional campaign? And where's the money going to come from, Gunnar? Where's the money going to come from to run those races? We're talking about billions and billions of dollars. Where does it always come from? It always comes from billionaires. It comes from giant corporations. Why do you think it's all Ryans? It's systematic. It's a systemic problem. So, no, the solution is not to just elect more people. You got to listen, my friend. I've been a little bit mean to you.
No, but you're advocating
for you.
We invite China over. Hey, China, come save our country because there's no hope. We'll never win again. I mean, there were people saying exactly what you're saying in 2016. Well, we'll never win another election because all these illegals are coming in. But we did win. And so I think we can win again.
Do you know what the margin was in 2016? Do you know what the margins were in the states that we needed? It was a little bit more than 10,000 votes. And you look at the margin of Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, it was razor thin. I mean, people always point, or Florida, I mean, people always point to 2016 and they say, see, landslide. I mean, on a technical level, it passed a threshold, I believe, of a landslide plus 300 electoral votes. But by a razor thin margin, a handful of counties with probably fewer than 100,000 votes. And, you keep in mind that in 1992, or was it 88? 1988, Republicans won California. Ronald Reagan won California, or was it Nixon? Reagan won it, I believe, 4 times, twice as governor, twice as president. Republicans used to win California and New York. In 84, Reagan won every state except for Minnesota, and they cheated in Minnesota. That was Mondale's home state. And so, you go from that to now California's unwinnable, and so is New York and Illinois and every other state. And then it's going to be Texas, and then it's going to be Florida, and we just don't have the time, man. I mean, I don't know what needs to happen for people like you to fucking wake up and realize that drastic action is necessary, and we need to think outside the box. We need to get radical. Been bullying you the whole stream because you're just not getting it, buddy. But listen, you don't have to be defensive. It doesn't have to be adversarial. I'm trying to wake you up, buddy. I am trying to grab you by your head and shake that brain awake. Because I used to think like you years ago, and then, I turned 17. I figured it all out. And, basically ever since, just been understanding it more and more. But, we have just got to stop rationalizing the system that we have, which doesn't work on a systemic level. It's dysfunctional. And if it can't provide the most basic functions that a government is supposed to provide, like, for example, having fucking water available. People are not going to be able to buy Christmas trees in December because of shortages. And it goes on and on. We can't defeat the Taliban. The Taliban are, like a 5th century army. We can't beat them. We can't do anything compared to other countries. It's a failing state. And the people are not having kids. Families are not being formed. The children are not being educated. The IQ is going down. The test scores are going down. Standards are falling. Infrastructure is crumbling. What's it going to take for people to wake up and realize it's going to take something a little bit more than let's just get them in the next election and pass a bill? It's no, everything's got to change. They got to fire everybody in the current regime and replace it with a brand new regime that's serious and knows how the world works. And until that point, things are just going to continue to get worse like they already have. So
yeah, no, and I think we definitely need radical action, and I think there's probably a lot of things that we'd actually agree on doing if we did have that control, and we could pass major legislation that would clean up a lot of these agencies and really go to war against China, whether it's in Africa or whether it's our technological investments, things that we need to do to stay competitive, and really take China to task so they stop stealing our intellectual property and stuff like that. So I think that there's a lot of things that we'd actually agree on that. But yeah, the whole system's lost. There's nothing we can do. We'll never win again.